Good evening, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to LAST CAW, brought to you by the Coterie of Samil, Arcane, Occult, Order, and Celestial Oddities Radio. As always, I will be your host, Frater Crow, and I want to thank you for listening in this evening. Whether you are listening live, streaming after the fact, or you've downloaded us to your device for on the go, I do want to thank you for your patronage and support. Please make sure you click the like, share, follow, and subscribe button on whatever platform you're tuning in from, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. If it is YouTube, make sure you click the subscribe. That way you can stay in the loop with all new episodes as they air. Gives you unfiltered access to our past archives, not only of LAST CAW, but Caniculum Obscuritatis, Uncovering the Underground, Knights of the Nephilim, and Pair of Normal Guys podcast, as well as my music and other things that I'm involved in as well. So a whole slew of different things you can be, a part of if you subscribe to the Knights of the Nephilim YouTube page. If you're not following the different Facebook pages like Celestial Oddities Radio, Celestial Oddities Paraseekers, Knights of the Nephilim, or Frater Crow, make sure you give it a click. And if you're new to this show, welcome. If you are a return guest, thank you. So what we do on this show is we tell past life experiences that I've experienced in kind of an unfiltered, unrelenting, and unforgiving sense. I've been through a lot of very strange happenings in my life, some very funny things as well, and I tell them just unfiltered on this show while hanging out with you guys. It's a great way to spend a Thursday evening, just kicking it, spending time with my viewers and fans out there. And it's just a nice way to spend a night, like I said. So if you are listening out there, no matter where you're listening from, make sure you leave a comment and interact with the show as well. We see your comments as they come across. We air them on the screen. We read them off and we interact with them. So when I say we, I mean me. It's just me. Now, I do want to give thanks to all the people that helped me with the show, though, as well. So my partner, Daniel James, who's on my Pair of Normal Guys podcast, Natasha, who's the creative director of Celestial Oddities Radio, and anybody else that helps share or post this around as well. But at the end of the day, it's just this face right here that's doing all these shows, so thank you. Tonight, we have an episode titled, I Want to Give You My Skin. And it's a fucked up story that hopefully you guys enjoy. So if you're out there, drop me a comment to let me know you're here. I'll make sure I read it off. We'll wait for a few more people to jump in and we'll go ahead and begin our story. I'll probably do 2 tonight. I'll do I Want to Give You My Skin. And then I'll tell you guys about my first experience of going to Gathering of the Juggalos, which was a one and done. I only went once. And the experiences that I had while there. Get a drink real quick. For anybody that's tuning in after the fact, we are May 2nd, 2024, 9:03 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as a place marker for anybody that might watch this down the road, weeks, months, or years later. If you see me squinting, it's because I don't have my contacts in tonight. I had my glasses on, but they look like laser beams blaring the screen, so I took them off. So now I'm blind and I can't see anything. But I will try to do my best to see throughout the episode this evening. Tonight we'll talk about concerts, and I talked about them recently on an episode entitled Justice is a Dirty Game in Porta Potty Beatdown, I think was last episode, which both took place. One of them took place at a concert, the other did not, but it was about some fights that I was in throughout my life that were very strange situations. And tonight we're going to talk about concerts as well. And that's how I Want to Give You My Skin took place, which was at one of my shows. If you're not aware, I was a hip hop artist for a very long time. I was an underground artist in the horrorcore genre by the name of Skippy Ickham. I have 7 albums out. Did very well for myself in that scene. And was the headliner for quite some time, so was always hanging around shows every weekend, waiting to play, hanging around all night, meeting all kinds of different people. And by the time I would go on, everyone was shit-faced, everyone was all drugged up, and there was always weird happenings that took place. And this night that I'm about to tell you of was no different. Hopefully everyone's enjoying the weather out there. Where you're from, it depends on what the weather's like, but it's been Beautiful here in Pennsylvania. Today it was, I think, 85 degrees. Not bad for May as far as warm and feeling like a nice summer day, getting over all the shitty rain and cold that we've had lately here. It felt like a mid-July day, which is kind of scary in its own right because it shouldn't be that hot in May, but it's been shitty, so we're enjoying the heat. Hopefully you guys are having good weather wherever you're tuning in from. See a few people watching, waiting for a few more to jump in, and we'll go ahead and tell you this insane story. And like I said, don't be shy. Feel free to drop a comment. I would love to talk to you. While we're waiting on that, we will do add. There you go. Would you give me your skin? The gentleman we're talking about this evening sure seemed to want to. Hey, Jim, thank you for tuning in, bro. You see me squinting trying to read because, like I said, I don't have my contacts or glasses on. I'm like getting old, man. My eyes are fucking poof, going. Yeah, the weather's been fantastic, man. It's been very nice, especially with all the rain we got. I mean, a few weeks ago, my whole studio area, my temple, everything else down here flooded. Our backyard was underwater, and it was a battle for several days to get it back under control, back to normal, rebuild everything, swipe everything down, suck up all the water. So to have nice hot days and bake the shit out of all the condensation and water that's been around is a good thing. It's like, fuck you, water, take that. So we'll go ahead here in a second and get this story started, whether there's people in here or not. I want to tell it. I don't want you guys that are watching to have to sit around too much longer. But tonight's a story about a show that I played, and I don't know the name of the venue because it really wasn't a venue. It's a place that had shows a couple times, but it wasn't a bar or a restaurant or anything like that. It was right across from Consol Energy Center. Consol Energy Center, for those that are not familiar, is an arena area in downtown Pittsburgh. And they have a lot of concerts there. They have sports there, and it's a bustling area. And right across the street from it, there's several restaurants and businesses. Well, right across the street from it at this time, this was years ago, there was this old-looking cement and brick building that they had shows upstairs twice that I'm aware of, and I was at both of them. I played both of them. And the first time I played there, I couldn't find the place. I knew it was somewhere down there. All I was given was the address, and I'm walking up and down the street carrying all these totes of clothes, trying to find my way to the building. And I could hear music, but I didn't see anywhere that looked like it would be a show. And the next thing I know, there's a glass and metal door with someone's shirt wrapped around the locking mechanism and tied. And it's shut, and I'm like, oh shit, I think it's here. Well, it was ghetto as fuck. And we walked in, I walked in to the door and walked upstairs, and I'm getting wanded down with metal detectors from the guards and security there, and go into the show. It's packed. So you're thinking, okay, this place is shitty and like not what you're expecting, but you go upstairs and it's fucking shoulder to shoulder people. Couldn't fit another person in here if you wanted. And I'm like, all right, I'm headlining the show tonight. This is awesome. So I'll get myself set up, get my merch booth set up. I'm hanging out backstage. And when I say backstage, I don't mean like I'm actually behind a curtain or hidden from anybody. It's just I'm towards the back of the bar area, and there's some amps and different things separating the artists from the crowd. And I'm standing back there and I'm drinking and smoking with some of the other artists and hanging out, and people in the crowd having a good time. It was BYOB. Now, in this case, usually BYOBs bring your own beer. Or it could be bring your own bottle, but usually it's bring your own beer, right? Well, this was bring your own bottle and bring your own blunts. The whole crowd was smoking heavy. I mean, there was a cloud in this building that you could barely see through the haze. And it was everything goes here. And I'm like, wow, we're really in a fucking like a good, nice underground show, but we're not where I would normally expect an underground show to be, at someone's home or, in a little town somewhere. No, we're smack dab in the middle of Pittsburgh. So I'm enjoying the time, having a good time with everybody. And there's people just swigging bottles of whiskey and bottles of vodka and bottles of rum and all over the place. And I'm like, it's going to get bad tonight. It's going to get bad. I knew it. I'm like, this much alcohol consumption at that level never spells anything good. Now, they had a wonderful lineup that evening, and one of the artists was Rye Bread. Now, Rye Bread, it's a funny name, but Rye Bread's a white rapper here in Pittsburgh that has a very old school hip hop sound. Very Big Pun, Big L, Biggie, Tupac, an accumulation apparently of a bunch of dead rappers. It sounds weird to say those four names, but an accumulation of that era, very old school hip hop. And that's definitely not my sound, but it's something that I very much admire and something I listen to and like. And he was out there killing it. And the entire time he's playing, I'm standing backstage talking to some other people. I can hear, fuck this guy, you fucking suck, put Skippy Ickham on, put Skippy Ickham on. And once again, my artist name was Skippy Ickham. And I'm hearing this and I'm like, what the hell is going on right now? I would never want one of my fans to disrespect another artist, especially one that I respect and think is a very dope artist. And this guy is just over and over again, get off stage, you fucking suck, put Skippy come on. And I'm looking out across the haze because remember, there's so much weed smoke in this building because everyone was smoking. It was out of control. I could barely see through the fog. And I could see this guy just pacing back and forth and jumping up and down and going ape shit in the crowd, telling this amazing artist, get off, you suck, and put Skippy on. And like I said, I was the headliner that night. And eventually Rye Bread finishes, right? It's my turn to go on. And I'm kind of like, oh shit, it's about to get real. I knew it. I could feel the tension in the air. Something's about to go down here. Well, my shit gets set up. Not like there's much to do when you're a rapper. You get your USB drive or your CD plugged in, or if you have turntables or something, but I didn't have a DJ or anything that night. So they get my stuff plugged in. They get calibration set on the mics and the sound and everything to make sure everything sounds good. Do a quick sound check. I come out. And if anybody's ever seen me live, not to toot my own horn, but I'm pretty dope live as far as a rapper. Very fast, very intricate, technical parts, and I'm actually rapping. I'm not, if I do play a backtrack, I'm actually rapping full force over top of it, and only using it as continued sound in the background, not to overcast me because I can't live up to my own lyrics like a lot of artists do these days. But most of the time I don't have my backtracks on the song. Some do, some don't. Usually that's if I can't find the backtrack itself, because over time my computers have crashed and I've lost beats and things, but I have albums out and people want to hear certain songs. So I come out and, what the fuck's up, Pittsburgh? Skippy Ickham in the motherfucking house. Let's get it. This dude from second one, front row, going nuts. And I'm like, it's weird to be an artist and watch wild stuff go on in the crowd, but still have to perform and hit your lyrics. So I'm up there, just going, chopping it up and going in on it. And I'm jumping around and getting into it. But meanwhile, I'm watching this guy just fucking shaking his head and slapping himself, pace back and forth. He's doing the bull feet where you skid your feet backwards like you're about to charge something. He's jumping. And I'm like, man, this dude is way, way, way too pumped up to be seeing me. That was my opinion. Like, this dude is jumping around like I'm the biggest artist that ever lived, and I'm not. So to watch him that excited was cool, but at the same time, it's kind of scary. Like, what the fuck is this guy on? Because I knew he was on something much more than just drinking and smoking. So the next thing I know, he starts running back and forth and going crazy. He's punching himself in the chest and shit. And I'm like, what? I'll just keep it going. I'm laughing while I'm rapping. Like, okay, man, what the fuck ever. And next thing I know, he takes his shirt off and starts fucking throwing it down the ground, picking it back up, throwing it back down. And I'm like, oh yeah, here it comes. he starts jumping up and down. He's like, fucking right, Skippy Ickham. Fuck yeah, man. I love you, brother. I fucking love you, man. You're the best. All this wild stuff to me. And then he starts jumping around some more. And he picks up a chair. Well, actually, first, before he picks up the chair, he starts slapping his chest like this and gripping it. Now, I'm trying to show you. Like, trying to rip. And he keeps grabbing at his own skin and pulling on it, trying to yank it off. And he's like, Skippy! He's like, I want to give you my skin. I want to give you my fucking skin, Ickham. And I'm like, throwing my hands up while rapping, like, I don't want your skin, bro. Keep the skin. Put the skin away. But he's insistent on, like, clawing himself and trying to rip his own flesh off. And just keeps yelling out over and over again, I want to fucking give you my skin. Next thing I know, wildest shit that I've ever seen at a show. He runs over and starts punching the wall several times. And this wasn't like a drywall or plaster. This is like a concrete wall. He runs over and starts fucking cranking it with his fucking hands and then jumping up and down where his hands are bleeding and shit. And he's bleeding on his chest and yanking out, I want to fucking give you my skin. And I'm like, this dude I think's crystal methed out. I'm like, I think he is tweaking the fuck out right now. And he runs over and grabs a stool, and on the other wall, the one he wasn't punching, he runs full force over with the stool and smashes it through the wall, sticks the fucking legs of the stool into the wall, busts that shit, pulls it out and starts beating it off the ground and broke the shit out of this stool into pieces and starts throwing the fucking pieces at people in the crowd. And then he runs back to the concrete wall and starts fucking slamming his head over and over again and the shit busting his shit up. So now his head's bleeding, his knuckles are bleeding, there's a big ass hole in the wall, there's busted wood and shards all over the fucking ground, and he's still jumping up, fucking punching himself and grabbing in his chest saying, I want to fucking give you my skin. If that wasn't wild enough and kind of the end of the story, and we can talk about it if you guys have any questions. No, I don't think Flocka was around at this time. This was like 10 years ago. I mean, it's not something we heard about here in Pittsburgh, or the bath salts or anything. This bath salts all kind of took place after this, at least in our area. Yeah, he was definitely on something. And so then security rushes in. Someone had made them aware, like, this dude's fucking tweaking out up here, and he busted walls and shit everywhere. They run in and start beating the fuck out of this kid. I mean, they whooped his ass. But the wildest thing about this story, if that all wasn't wild enough, is as they beat him the fuck down and they grabbed him by the feet and started dragging him out of the venue to get him the fuck out of there, it wasn't like he was knocked out. It wasn't like he was hurt and holding himself or fighting with them and screaming at them. He was still on the ground getting dragged out, looking directly at me and yelling, I did this for you, Ickham. I did this for you. I want to give you my skin. And now you can hear it. And the funny thing is the memory I can't express to you guys, but you could hear it as it got more faint. So like up front, I want to give you my skin, real intense, right? Well, he gets beat the fuck down and drug out. So you can hear it's like, I want to give you my skin. As he's like slowly getting drug out the back, it got fainter and fainter until he was gone. And as I finished that song, I was like, well, that's the most fucking intense thing I ever seen. Whole crowd started laughing. Everyone was just kind of standing there like, what the fuck did we just witness? And that is the story of I want to give you my skin. I don't know, guys. Like I said, I've ran into a lot of very strange happenings throughout my life and a lot of crazy concerts and events while I was out performing. I've played hundreds of shows. I've headlined hundreds of shows. And that was the only time I've ever experienced that. I've seen fights. I've seen all kinds of shit. But I've never seen someone trying to rip his own chest's flesh off and give it to me as an offering and then beat his face into a concrete wall. I mean, I just have never witnessed that. But he was on something good. He was fucking feeling it. Or not feeling it, depending upon how you want to look at that. I want to fucking give you my skin. And that was the story, man. I mean, he was pulling hard at his chest. Like he was trying to, if he had tits, he was trying to rip them things off. He was like, I'm going to give you my skin. So, shout out to that guy. Wherever you are out there in the world, brother, I salute you, man. Keep your fucking skin. I don't want it. But thanks. I mean, Laura, he could have been on acid. As someone who's seen a lot of people taking, both mescaline gel tabs and blotter and liquid and all that over the years, I've never seen I've seen people wig the fuck out. I've never seen that though. I don't think he was on acid. I think he was on some sort of narcotic of some sort. Or like Amber said, he was possessed and my music just spoke to him. For anybody who hasn't heard my music, it is very dark, very malicious music. And it's funny because people would see me perform and like I said, it's very extreme music. And then I'd walk off and they'd be like, man, you're dope. And I'm like, thank you so much, sir. And it would always throw them back like, oh, wow, I expected this dude to be a psychotic psycho serial killer. You know what I mean? And I tell him his music's great and he's like a professional businessman. People couldn't understand that separation between a professional and being in character. And who I was on stage was very much myself, but it was also a character of myself. All right, let's take a look at some of these comments. Yeah, we said possessed. MDMA will make you numb to shit. That was in then too. I'm going to be 40 and I remember hearing about it then. I don't know. I mean, I'm someone who's done most of the things you've mentioned, not the flocka and bath salts, but done most of the things you mentioned and it never made me that right. I'm not saying it couldn't for someone else, but usually MDMA and ecstasy and things like that are going to have you kind of rolling back or like you're rubbing the wall. I could have seen him being like, instead of yanking, I could have seen him been like, man, I want to give you my skin. I want to touch your skin. I just want to touch skin. Oh, the skin. Or rubbing the wall and being like, oh, this wall feels nice. This is a nice wall. That's more your MDMA. That's not your fucking bashing your face into a brick wall and being like, yeah. That's like crystal meth. That's crank. That's some fucking tweakers. Or crack or something along those lines. I'm giving the Ken Kniff voice from Eminem. Oh yeah. Oh, it's Ken Kniff from Connecticut. Yeah. I appreciate it, Kelvin. Thank you for always tuning in, brother. I mean, who knows? Maybe he wasn't on anything. Maybe he was just fucking absolutely insane. There's always that option. We like to think, of excuses for people. Oh, he was going through a rough time, or he was on this, or he was on that. Or maybe he's just batshit crazy, and he was trying to rip his fucking skin off and give it to me. It's hard to say. So we're going to go ahead and tell another story, because I knew that wouldn't be a very long one, and I like to hang out with you guys for a little while. Let's read this other comment. Oh, yeah, fuck yeah. Suck it, Shaggy. Yeah, don't bite it. Don't be rough with it. People listening in right now that just tuned in are like, what the fuck? So let's tell you about the first time I went, and the only time I went to Gathering of the Juggalos. And it's really fucking funny. I didn't do that on purpose. I just did the Ken Kniff voice saying, suck it, Shaggy. Yeah, which is making fun of ICP. And then I literally went straight into a story about the Gathering of the Juggalos and ICP. That was not planned. That's what you call divine harmony right there. I like it. So I've been to a lot of music festivals, right? And 2 days, 3 days, and this being my very first 4-day festival, I decided years ago, I told my wife, listen, once in my life, I need to go to the Gathering of the Juggalos. I need to experience it. I've always heard stories. I need to experience it for myself. She agreed. She's like, go ahead. Turn the music down a little bit so I can hear myself better. Nothing could have prepared me for the weirdness of the things that I've encountered during those 3.5 to 4 days. I mean, I've been to concerts, but most of the concerts that I've been to, as far as festivals, I'm saying, they would end at like 12 or 1 o'clock at night. They would pick back up in the next morning, 10 or 11. You had a break at night. Well, no, not Gathering of the Juggalos. They played till like 7 in the morning, and then there would be a break until like 10 in the morning. You'd get like a 3-hour break where there wasn't music pounding somewhere. And there's like 4 stages, and then you have all these random ass stages where there's like girls fucking dancing covered in Faygo naked and fucking all wrestling and all kinds of weird shit going on there. Truly like a carnival of sorts. That's their whole their whole gimmick and their whole thing. And so I was excited. It was at Hidden Valley in Ohio, so that's one of the reasons I went too. Is I'm like, hey, they're close again. They went away for a couple years, and now they're back at Hidden Valley. I really want to go to this. A few people I know, I think, are going, but I'm not sure. Honey, I'm going to go to the gathering. She says, okay. So I bought a pass for it, and I bought a parking pass where you can drive your car into the campgrounds and park near your tent, or so you think, instead of parking way back at the parking lot. Because my thinking is I'm by myself, I'm going 100% alone, and I'm going to be there for 4 days. I'm going to need my shit nearby. I'm not hiking miles to my car and back, leaving all my stuff at my tent, which I didn't trust anyways. I can put my stuff in the car during the day, just leave my tent up, and go back and forth. So I pull in, and I pull into the parking lot. I'm like, I don't know where to go. There's so many cars. There's so many people. And I'm like, where the fuck do I got to go? And I see a tent up here. It says tickets. And I'm like, okay, I need to pull in, but I had nowhere to park. So I just pulled right off to the side where I was definitely in the way of shit. But I got out of my car, took my keys out, left my four-ways on, and I walk around the back side of this circus tent to the front to go to the table to get my 4-day pass and my parking pass. Now, obviously, I know at the gathering, and I've seen, many tits at concerts over the years. I've seen, full-blown naked ladies at concerts before too, but it's rare to see a full-blown naked body. Usually it's just titties, right? I've seen a couple people fucking before at concerts too. I mean, so you see these things. Well, I turned the corner of this tent, and we're in broad daylight. It's like 11 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning. And as I turned the corner, my mind wasn't expecting on day one, before anything's even started in broad daylight, to see a 350-pound woman fully naked just standing there. So as I turned the corner, it kind of threw me off a little bit. Like, oh shit. Like, you could play cool. Like, okay, that's normal. That's fucking normal. We haven't even started drinking yet, but okay. So I'm like walking by her and kind of like keeping my head down, like, what the fuck? And I go to the ticket counter, and I kind of feel bad for them because they're just sitting there. This lady's just standing there in front of her, like looking at the sky and shit. She was already in the zone, and I'm getting my tickets and my passes and everything. And as I go to walk away to go back to my car, I kind of had to stop and stare at her for a second. And I'm like, wow, like, all right, go you, like, all right, what the fuck? And I walked back to my car and I got in, and I'm trying to kind of wrap my mind around that. Like, like I said, normally when you're at a concert, it's late in the evening when anything even close to that would happen. And here it is like 10 o'clock in the morning. So I get back in my car, and I start to drive through the campgrounds. Now that's a tricky situation at the gathering, because you're going down in and there's thousands of people just walking around. You're trying to drive through them, and I don't even know where the fuck I'm going. As I come down to the bottom of the hill, and you're seeing all kinds of weirdos at the gathering, obviously, as I come down and crest the bottom of this hill and I make a turn, the very next thing that caught my eye, as much as the woman back at the tent, was an even larger woman. Now, like I said, she was about 350. She was a big girl. This girl was about 450. She was a very big girl. And in her hands, she had wrapped around 2 chains, walking 2 enormous, fierce-looking pit bulls, butt-ass naked. And I just stopped my car. Amongst the million people walking back and forth, trying to find where I just stopped and sat there for a minute, and I'm staring in the distance, and I'm like, we're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy. I'm like, this is going to be a weird fucking 4 days. And I drive a little bit further down the road. And once again, you have to remember, I'm here alone. I don't know if I'm going to know anybody at this concert. I might spend 4 days 100% alone by myself. And so be it. Hey, Sue, how you doing? Thank you for tuning in, hon. So as I'm driving down this road, I see a guy I know run by like a monkey. And he's literally animalistic. He's like running across the ground, like a monkey would be running, through the forest. And that made me stop my car again. So you got to think, I'm 5 minutes into this journey, and I have to keep stopping and like questioning my reality. And I'm like, did I just see so-and-so? So I keep driving slow, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with him? Then I see his girl at the time, and she's screaming for him and running through this crowd. And then she spots me and I spot her amongst all these people. I don't even know how that's possible. And she runs straight over to my car and opens up the passenger door and just jumps in and shuts it. And I'm still in kind of disbelief, like, what the fuck? And she says, Crow, she's like, you need to help me. Such and such is out of his mind right now. I says, well, yeah, I just seen him run by like a fucking wild animal. She says he ate 35 hits of acid. And like, I got taken back by that. I'm like, wait, what? She's like, yeah, he just ate 35 hits. And I'm like, he's gonna fucking die. She's like, I know, that's what I'm saying. We need to catch him. And I'm looking in the distance and he's gone. And there's just so many people, so many tents, these rolling hills. And I'm like, hon, he's gone. I'm like, I'll try to help you catch him, but I don't think we're catching him, especially in that mind state. So eventually I roll around, and you can't park near your tent. You park where there is this area and you have to try to find a way to tent, and there's tents everywhere. Yeah, Kelvin, 35. I got to be honest with you. I don't know how he didn't die. That's just way too much. It's about 33 hits too many. So I park my car, I take what I can up to this area, and I bumped into some other people, and they're like, Pittsburgh camp. And I didn't know any of these people really. And they're like, you want to camp up here with us, bro? And they knew of me because of my music and shit. So I ended up camping in this area that was a bunch of people from Pittsburgh that I never met before. So that was cool. At least I had some like local backup, I guess. So I got my tent going and everything. And day one, I was having problems with my tent. For some reason, the pole would not fit. I know how to build tents. I've camped my whole life. And this was a brand new tent. I've never used it before. I start setting it up and I'm trying to get the rod where it needs to go. And it's just like 1.5 feet too long. And I'm like, no matter how I bend it, it already was torqued to the max. And I'm like, I can't bend it anymore. It's going to break. It's going to break. And I went back over the whole tent. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And I wasn't. I think there was a defect in this tent. So I'm like, I'm going to push it. I'm stretching it as hard as I can. And I got it to go into the eye hole, right? And my tent's good, right? I'm like, fuck yeah. Okay, we're good. We're good. So then we start to go out and look for my dude, my buddy, acquaintance at that time. We're looking everywhere for him. Can't find him. But then we're starting to mingle with other people. And I mean, such a big party grounds. We're bumping into all kinds of people and drinking and partying and having a good time. And, hours go by. We don't see this fucker. Everybody's kind of giving up hope. But we're all having a good time. And next thing I know, I go to my car to get some things. And like I said, I've been there like 6.5 hours at this point. And I'm over at my car and I'm digging through my car to get a couple things. And I see something out of the corner of my eye. And I turn and look and it's him standing there. Now, he's a really rough motherfucker. When he talks, he has one of those, like, I smoke 20 fucking packs of Newports every day of my life type of voices, right? And he's just a rugged character. He's standing there just staring at me like this. And I got taken back by it. And I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, so-and-so. I'm like, we've been looking everywhere for you. And he says in the cutest little kid's voice, the most innocent voice, which is definitely not him, can you take me home? And I was like, sure, little buddy. I'll take you home. Come on over here. And he comes on over. I put my arm around him. He's like, you can take me home? I said, I'll take you home, buddy. I said, just give me a minute to put my stuff back in my car and we'll take you home. He's like, thank you. And I'm leading him up through the hillside across this little fucking wooden bridge up to where our camp is. And as I emerge over the hill, everyone from this camp from Pittsburgh seeing this cat, and they're like, you caught him. You caught him. I was like, I caught him. They're like, where was he? I said, he actually found me, not me finding him. And he was talking like a little kid and they're all laughing. Well, it was like 15 minutes went by. We thought he was going to go to sleep. Even though I don't know how you could sleep with that many hits. We thought he was going to lay down, I suppose. So we kind of put him in a tent. Like, you need to cool it down. Just take some time. We're all sitting there partying and drinking and everything. Next thing we know, coming up the hill, he's climbing. I want you to witness this imitation. And he's climbing butt naked other than a thong on. And it was a leopard thong. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I shouldn't be here. Like, I shouldn't be here right now. I should probably go home. And I'm like, I said to everybody, I'm like, first off, where the fuck is his clothes at? Which I get, when you trip, you want to take a lot of stuff off. But I'm like, where is his clothes off? And why is he wearing a leopard thong? And his girl's like, oh, shortly after he took the 35 hits, they're like, he shit himself. And he had to use his boxers as toilet paper pretty much. And they're like, and he didn't bring any other clothes with him for a 4-day festival, right? What the fuck? She's like, so I had to give him one of my thongs. So that was what he was wearing under his jeans. And I'm like, makes sense. Makes sense. So that gives you kind of an idea of what a gathering of the Juggalos is like. And that's only a small sample. I mean, between watching the bands and the wild shit going on throughout the night, people fucking all around you. It was funny because there was this chick that was camped right next to me. She wasn't from Pittsburgh. She just set up. I think she said she came from Texas. And you could see she was eyeing me up hard. And I'm not interested. I'm married. I have no interest. There's this kid on the other side of me who was there by himself, just met him and started talking to him. And I was like, bro, check it out. I'm going to introduce you to someone. I went over and I was like, hey, hon, how you doing? Talked to her for a couple minutes. I said, I want you to meet my fucking dude. I was like, this is the man right here. And kind of pushed him, like, get the fuck over there to her. Spent the whole 4 days with her. Unfortunately, I had to hear them banging for 4 days next to me, like nonstop, like little jackrabbits. But it was perfect. And I'm like, you get the fuck over there with her. So she stays the fuck away from me. Now, what's really funny about it, catch them. Yeah, catch them. Got to catch them all. Like a Pokemon. Yeah, that's funny. I just said that. And then the next comment I seen was like a Pokemon. So night one, right? It starts torrential fucking downpouring. I'm in that tent. Now remember, the torque on that fucking bar of the tent. It's middle of the night. I'm wasted, like drank a case deep. And I'm laying in there. And all of a sudden, whoosh, the pole fucking snapped. And the tent fell in on me to where it was flat. And I was laying inside of the canvas of the tent with water just pouring all over the place. Now, it's still waterproof, but I mean, when that happens, you're getting water on you, right? And I'm laying in there, and it's the middle of the night. I don't know anyone really, and it's pouring. I'm like, fuck. And I'm rolling around, and I tried to push my bags over to pin it up, and I made a little wedge where I had enough room to breathe with my head, and I had stuff around me to keep the canvas off me, and I tried to go to sleep. And that's how I slept night one. At the gathering in this defunct broken tent. So day two, I'm taping and binding the pole together to try to keep it together. And it was the most retarded looking structure ever. There was literally people at the gather walking by and taking pictures of it and taking selfies in front of it shit and making fun of me. They're like, nice tent, bro. And I'm like, thanks, man, you fucking dick. So night two, it rained again. For some reason, it rained night one, night two, night three, and day four I left. Night two, it rained so hard that while I was in the middle of sleeping in my makeshift tent, it fell again. And then I felt myself moving while I was sleeping. It rained so much that the mud under my tent started going, and I started sliding down a hill in my tent in the middle of the night drunk. So I started feeling this movement. I'm like, oh shit. And I couldn't find my way out of the tent. So when I finally got to the point where I could unzip and get myself out and crawl out of this thing, I was like 60 yards down from where I started at. I'm looking around, and there's these people's encampment here, and they had a big canopy, and I didn't give a shit. I went over and climbed under their canopy. I pulled my fucking shit ass tent. I makeshifted it back up again, and I crawled back in it and went to sleep under their canvas. When I woke up in the morning and crawled out, there's like 10 people sitting out in front of that canvas partying all around me. And when I emerged out, I didn't know any of them. They're like, what's up, man? I'm like, hey guys, hey, how's it going? I'm like, I hope you don't mind. I kind of, took advantage of your canopy. They're like, oh man, it's cool. If you want to stay here the rest of the time, go ahead, man, let's party. And I sat there and partied with these other people, made some friends that day, and partied with them that day, the next day, and then the fourth day I left. Let's see here. Pokemon called Tweakermon. Go, Tweakermon, go. That place is crazy. The crazy stories I hear. Yeah, AJ. I'm watching wow. I'm watching these chicks on stage do wet t-shirt contests with Fago, but then it's not just wet t-shirt contests. They're like bending over and they're like finger blasting each other on stage and using 2 liters to go on in each other. And I'm standing in a crowd and I'm like, what in the fuck is going on here, man? Like, this is a whole different world. Like, we're in a different planet right now and anything goes here. And then you're walking down the trails and shit, and there's just random. Gary Busey's brother had this stand with all these like dominatrix strippers, and they were like beating each other and beating men along the route. And I'm walking by and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? The key is, if you're going to the gathering, what you have to do, I would wake up really early and go to the shitter. It'd be the first thing I'd do. I'd walk down to the row of porta potties because every morning they came and sucked all the porta potties out, sprayed them down with the hose, sanitized them, and then left. So if you were one of the first ones there, you were set because the whole night, thousands of people shit in them and they're fucking gross. So as soon as I would hear that truck beep, 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 backing up to leave, I would jump out of my tent shit-faced still from the night before and run down to the porta potty. I would take my morning shit, make sure I'm where I needed to be. And then I would go to the showers. Now, a lot of people say, oh, I would never shower at a festival like that. Well, you know what? It's brutal fucking hot, drinking all day. I wore flip-flops. So I would go in the shower and you're standing next to like 30 fucking dudes you've never seen before all showering. It's weird as fuck. I'm not saying I haven't done that in gym and in football and stuff, but usually that's your team, not just a bunch of random clowns, using that pun purposely. So, you're showering and then you go back to your tent. Well, the one morning I'm walking up and sliding in a tent. Yeah, I mean, I fucking didn't know what was happening. I woke up and I'm like, I feel like I'm moving. And then there was velocity going. I'm like, ah! And then finally it stopped and I opened up the tent and I'm like, where the fuck am I? But the one day I'm coming up from the showers and I see a $5 bill sticking out of the gravel, and it's so dusty there. There's so much dust from the gravel and the cars going. And that's the thing, AJ. I mean, I always knew that the shows, I played with ICP and Twisted and Blaze Your Dead Homie and all those guys. I played with that entire psychopathic and ninja realm for years. I mean, multiple times. So I knew the shows were weird. I just never played the gathering, which is just a whole different fucking ball game. Now I seen this $5 bill hanging out and I'm like, fuck yeah, $5 bill, right? Who isn't, who's too proud to pick up a $5 bill? Now, my buddy in high school used to joke around and say, poop dollar, poop dollar. He used to always say it all the time. I don't know why. He's a weirdo. And he's poop dollar, poop dollar. Well, I never really understood poop dollar until I found one. So this $5 bill's hanging out. And I'm like, fuck yeah, score. I grab the tip of the thing hanging out and I pull it out of the gravel like, fuck yeah. And as I pull it out, it is covered in human shit. Someone shit all over this $5 bill, put gravel over top it and let it stick out so that some poor bastard, some innocent bastard like me would grab it. Luckily, I grabbed it by the tip that did not have shit on it. But as I pulled it out, this thing's just hanging and I'm like, oh, motherfucker. Now I understand what my buddy Zach was talking about when he always talked about poop dollar. It was a poop dollar. Only a gathering of the Juggalos. Well, thank you, Sarah. I appreciate you saying so. Laura said, I can't handle concerts. Fuck, if I listen to any more than 3 AC/DC songs, my anxiety is way up there. Well, that's your problem. You're going to AC/DC. You need to go some fucking quality music. And I'm just kidding. AC/DC is a badass band, but I can understand why that would get old pretty quick. But no, I've been to hundreds upon hundreds of concerts. I mean, I've seen pretty much everybody I ever wanted to see in concert for the most part. There's a few bands that eluded me due to people dying or just don't tour anymore. But mostly everybody I ever wanted to see live, I have. Some multiple times. Concerts were always a big thing for me, for my wife. We always really much enjoyed going and seeing shows, and we still do from time to time. In fact, Saturday night, I'm going to see Decapitated, Septic Flesh, Allegian, and Cataclysm at Preserving Underground. And I can't fucking wait. It's going to be killer. Nice underground, shoulder to shoulder, sweaty, loud mess. It's going to be beautiful. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I've seen Cradle of Filth about 3 times, Kelvin. They're pretty good. I mean, it's not really something I listen to anymore, but they put on a good show. They put on the metal plates. They had, like, sexy girls on stage with metal plates, and they would hold grinders, and they would hit the grinder off the metal plate, and it would shoot sparks out over the crowd. So it was a really cool thing. You had Danny Filth out there all pale, looking like a vampire with his long black hair, and they got, like, pipe organs and shit going, and they're all in leather, and it's like, man, these dudes go in on their black metal look, but, I mean, I there's like a 2-year period I liked Cradle of Filth. It's like if I'm gonna listen to like a black metal style, I'm gonna listen to something more along the lines of like Dissection or um, something like Dimmu Borgir, something like that. I always felt like Cradle of Filth was kind of like a knockoff of them, but they were still a good band. What was their song? Necrophetamines or whatever that one big song of theirs was. John Riley. Forgot about the poop dollar. That's my boy right there, John. Me and him have gone to a bunch of concerts. We used to go to Cleveland all the time, to Peabody's, the Agora Ballroom, seen Devil Driver, and God, who else have we seen? Life Once Lost, Dead to Fall, Napalm Death, all kinds of shows with my boy right there. Funny story, we went to see Devil Driver at the Agora Ballroom, and we snuck back with them. Their camper afterwards. Security tried to stop us. We're like, no, we're sneaking in. We want hamburgers. I've been to Alice Cooper, Shania Twain, Papa Roach, Nickelback, 3 Days Grace, and Guar. I have seen Guar about 8 times, 3 Days Grace about 5, Nickelback once, Papa Roach 4, Shania Twain never, and Alice Cooper never. It was one of the ones I would have liked to see, but at this point, when he tours, I'm like, I'm good. If I would have seen him 20 years ago, fucking A. Now I don't really care, and he tours with people like Marilyn Manson and shit, and I just don't really care to see Marilyn Manson. A lot of people like Manson. I've seen Manson like 5 times. I'm good on seeing a dude rub a microphone on his ass crack and like punch himself in the dick and all kinds of weird shit. It's just not really my bag of a show, especially after all the shit that he's been in lately. Hey, Brittany, how you doing? I remember Peabody's until they closed down. Yeah, Kelvin, Peabody's was dope. I love Peabody's. Great underground club. A lot of great shows, multiple stages. They had a lot of great bands there. I saw Danzig for the first time, Calvin said. So, funny story about Danzig. Danzig was one of those bands I always wanted to see. They were big when I was a little kid. So when I got older and it came back out at Rock on the Range, I'm like, fucking A. I finally get to see Danzig. My wife was with me, and we're like, yeah, we get to see Danzig. She didn't care so much. She didn't really know much about Danzig, but I'm like, we get to see Danzig, yeah. Glenn Danzig was a fucking mess. He came out looking like 70 pounds overweight, pale, looked wasted, and it's like 1:30 in the afternoon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon at Rock on the Range, second stage. It's like song 2, and he stopped singing, and he turned around and he's looking at all of his other bandmates, and it's one of those things as a band, like he's looking at them like he doesn't know what's going on. Like, did you guys fuck up or is it me? And the band's still rocking. He forgot his lyrics. So then he like tried to keep it going. Third song, forgot his lyrics again and starts mumbling and saying incoherent inconsistencies with the song. Doesn't even match. By the 4th song, he falls into his own amps. So wasted. And at that point, I'm like, let's go. Let's go to the other stage or let's go buy drinks. I don't even fucking care to watch this guy. I'm like, how embarrassing, man. You've been gone for years and your return show has all these people. It's such a huge event. And you're that fucking shit-faced that you forget your lyrics and falling into amplifiers. And I'm like, what a joke. Like, don't come back, man. You're done. End it. I've never seen NoFX. Be a cool show, though. I've had chances to see him several times. I just never went. Alice Cooper is loud. Loudest I've heard. That's hard for me to give the loudest because I've gone to a lot of club shows. Everybody you named would be in an arena or a pavilion, like a big place. Shows like this weekend, for example, like Decapitated. It's in like a 25 by 35 foot room. And you have like 400 people crammed in there. It is so loud that you will go deaf. I mean, you will be fucked up for 2 weeks if you don't wear earplugs. And a lot of people don't. I do. I don't need my ears fucked like that. I did for years when I played. You wish more European bands would come to the U.S. It depends on where you're looking. I mean, like I said, they bring a lot of great bands to some of the places here in Pittsburgh. Preserving Underground has bands from Germany, bands from Switzerland, all over the place, coming over and playing at this new venue they opened. It's really cool. Everybody wants to be the next Gigi Allen, it seems, lately. I don't know if I'd go see Gigi Allen. I mean, credit to that dude for the weird shit he did, but I don't want shit thrown on me. And I don't really want someone coming up and kissing my girl, when she doesn't want it and then punching me in the face. Gigi Allen did a lot of weird, wild stuff. He'd be canceled real quick in today's age. Oh, Guar was the loudest. Guar is loud. Guar is an amazing show. Like I said, I've seen Guar so many times. Rest in peace, Odorous Urungus. We miss you, man. The new singer, which was a friend of the band, he does great, but it's just not the same Guar that it was before Odorous Urungus died. They're still great, like I said. It's just that was Guar before. Oh, Sarah, I would think you definitely go see him if you've never seen him before. If you want to be covered in fake blood and fake semen and see people executed on stage and, roasted on spits and all that, and like just a wild show that you're like, what the fuck? That's it. That's an awesome, awesome show to see. I still say that shit from time to time. Poop dollar. Yeah, man, that happened to me. I got poop dollared. I got poop $5. They went all in. They didn't just do it on $1. Dave just seen Slayer, Gojira, and Forearm. I don't know who Forearm is. Gojira's sick. Their timing that they use in their music's insane. Slayer's good. I've seen Slayer several times. I've seen them like 3 times now for their farewell tour. 3 different times. They're like, this is our last one. And then they're still fucking playing. I don't It's weird that bands do that. Like, this is our last tour ever. It's our farewell. Thank you. And then like 2 years later, they're like, we're on another tour and it's our farewell tour ever. And then another 2, and you're like, all right, dude, like, are you just taking advantage of ticket sales? Like, that's kind of fucked up if you think about it. Like, I like Slayer. I like a lot of other bands that have done that too. But how many times are you going to tell us you're retiring? I saw Butcher Babies before too. Don't really know anything about them, but I know I've seen them on one of the festivals I was at. My half brother Jordan used to set up the stages for bands. He was a roadie then, and he partied with Guar and many others. So when I seen Guar for the first time, Beefcake the Mighty, it was Ballsack the Mighty Jaws of Death. It was like at the end of the show. And I'm standing. I was 15 at the time. My dad took me and my buddy Shep, and it was just us 4 or us 3. I mean, and he waves me over. He's come over here, and I'm soaked, covered in dye. I'm fucking look like I've been through the ringer, right? And I go over, and he's like, "Come here, I want to tell you something." And I wanted to meet one of them. I wanted to get their guitar pick. I said, "Can I get one of your guitar picks?" And that's when he waved me over. Come here. He's like, "I want to tell you something." I said, "What?" And he's like, Come here. I leaned in. He fucking had a blood packet in his hand, right? And I leaned in. He sprayed me right in the eyeball with it. Started cackling, and then turned around and walked off stage. And it fucking burned, and I couldn't see because he shot me directly in the eye. Not like he got it on my face. He shot it into my eyeball. So I went blind. It burned, and I'm like, ah! And the dude just thought it was the funniest fucking thing in the world and walked off stage to this 15-year-old kid. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? It's kind of funny when you think back on it. But at the time, I'm like, what a cocksucker. But it is funny. I'm hoping I can see Rome Music live this year. Rome Music. I'm not sure what you're talking about unless you're talking about like Sublime and Rome from Sublime, because I know they're back. There will be another farewell tour. Just wait. Oh, fuck yeah, there will. Like I said, I guess it's like a thing you can do now. And I seen a post the other day about Ticketmaster that made me laugh. It was like, Ticketmaster tickets, $47. Venue fee, $27. Surplus charge, $17. Online processing, $15. And the fee to the fee, $7. And that's exactly what it's like. Concerts are a fucking sham anymore if you're going through big places like for arenas. It's like the concert ticket, you look it up and you're like, okay, I can swing $45. I can maybe make that happen. And economy's hard right now. Everything is very expensive and inflated. I can make $45 work. And then you click one ticket, general admission, and then you always forget about the fees. And you click ready to check out. And then it's like $75. And you're like, wait a second, I don't understand. The ticket's $45. Oh, wait a second. They're charging me $15 tax on a concert ticket. Okay, well, that's 60. Well, then they're charging me 10 for a processing fee and 5 miscellaneous, and you're like, what the fuck? And that's what's wrong with the concert world right now, in the music world. They're fucking everybody. And a lot of people have a big problem with it. Even a lot of artists do. It's really messed up to do to people, especially when the rest of the world's going through so much. And it's so hard to do anything you really want to do right now because we're all broke, living paycheck to paycheck, most of us. So then your one outlet's like, man, I can go and enjoy music, until they shaft you by adding all kinds of extra fees. Yeah, that does burn. Yeah, fucking sucked. Ulathia is a great metal band. Cleveland's own. I don't know if I know about Ulathia. I'm not so hip on the scene. When I did Uncovering the Underground, which for you guys out there listening that never heard that, was my show. I ran about 100 episodes of that, interviewing bands, rappers, models, porn stars, comedians, oddities collectors, all kinds of underground personalities. In a platform like this, those episodes are still on my YouTube. I was very hip on like upcoming bands and in the metal scene and the death metal scene. I didn't do much beyond that, but I did have like pop punk bands and other type of bands on. And anymore, I just don't keep with it. I just don't have time with my occult studies and my cult and everything else I'm doing to be like knowing every band and who's out there. It's just too much. I met Mad Child at our tattoo shop. Permanent and proud. Did he read lyrics to you off of his phone? I only say that because I like to bust Mad Child's balls on that. One of the only dudes I've ever seen that did a rap battle and used his phone while battling, and it was like the most embarrassing thing I ever seen. Mad Child is a dope rapper. I used to like him years ago, but he recycles so many of his own bars into other songs. And then he, like I said, when he battled a dude, he literally was reading his lyrics off the phone, battling him. I'm like, if you can't remember your own lyrics or make them up on the spot, one or the other, don't battle, bro. That's fucking embarrassing to be battling someone. I'm like, wait a second. Yeah. And you're looking at it, it's like, no, dude, you're done. Plus his lyrics that he uses is fucking weird. He says things that like contradict each other. Let me stop this music real quick. He says things that contradict each other like 3 lines apart. He's like, I'm an enormous fire-breathing dragon. I'm as small as a gnome. And you're like, wait, what? Dude, you just said you were a large fire-breathing dragon, and I'm as small as a gnome. I'm like, what? And then he's like, I come in with a thunderous voice, but I'm as quiet as a cricket. And I'm making fun of him. That's not what he says. But like when you listen to his lyrics, he does that all the time. And you're like, dude, what the fuck? Like you're saying all just kind of random things. Like it's cool to rap and to rhyme, but like make it make sense. Make it actually have a flow to it or be understandable and not just random shit, right? Hey, Jesse, what's up, brother? He was showing his phone. I'm sure he was fucking showing his phone, Laura. Like I said, he lives off that thing. The funniest shit I've ever seen. Yeah, like I said, he's like, hold on, let me battle you. I'm a fire-breathing dwarf dragon. He has that nerd voice. I'm a criminal. I'm the baddest you ever seen. And it's like he has this dork voice, and you're like, all right, bro, what the fuck? And like I said, someone's going to share this with Mad Child now. He's going to be like, fuck this guy. But no, I mean, he's a dope rapper. He's dope in his own sense, but you want to see something funny, watch his fucking diss tracks back and forth with Snack the Ripper and watch Snack the Ripper fuck him up from years ago. Just destroyed him. Shit was embarrassing. It was like the Eminem and MGK battle. Just embarrassing. MGK got fucking bodied. Your beard is weird. I mean, like I said, he had some good lines, Mad Child, and throughout his career, but there's a lot of times you hear him say the same lines. I've heard him. There's one I forget what it was. Three different songs I heard him use the same set of bars, and I'm like, bro, you use this three different professional songs you've released now. That's fucked up. If you can't remember your own shit to know that you used it before, you probably need to stop. Jesse says I was gonna talk about his funny face tattoos, but then I realized I got funny face tattoo too. That's true. That's true. You know, if you're gonna go in, rap. You know, like I said, um, I'm a man of my word, and my word is my will for real. You got a license to drive, I got a license to kill. I keep it cool, calm, collected, and chill until the moment I reveal my wicked methods, leave you dead in the field. See, I was born for this rap shit and all you know, but none of you show it no love for this poisonous poet. So take my name down, study and focus. If I have to expose it, I don't like you, and you probably noticed. I started with a knife, but I ended with a gun. Started with a blunt, but I ended with some rum. See, I'm Belbo, I knock your ass over like a bulldozer, leave the scene steaming. I'm screaming, I'm like a flamethrower. Sick savage, telling beyond the average. Catch me upon my throne, I'm farther than you imagined. A lyrical rapist, satanic, sexual sadist to sever your faces with razors just to savor the flavor. Manifesto of a maniac trying to adapt in the world in which he was cast. Living too fast, taking over the underground fast. About to bring it back from these mumble rap swagger trash, skinny jean fags. You know, you got to go in with like actually bars. Like just rapping words. I'm a toaster, boaster, hoster. You know what I mean? Like you're just saying weird shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's what I feel like a lot of rappers do nowadays is like they throw things in that sounds cool until you actually start to dissect the lyrics and you're like, what the fuck did he just say? Tech Nine did that in one of his songs, and I'm not busting Tech Nine's balls. He's a fucking god of rap, but he said some fucking line in one of his songs. He's like, I'm a panther in brown pajamas inside a hamper. I'm flampered. He said some rhyme, and I'm like, you're a black panther in pampers inside of a hamper. Something. I'm like, what? Like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, that's just gibberish, man. Um, but like I said, most of his music's killer. And I think the problem is when you write like 18 albums, you have like 300 songs out, especially when you're a chopper like Tech, and you have blah, 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 and you're going fucking super quick. You've used so many lines that you really, what the fuck else do you have to say at this point? So I think that's a problem for a lot of people. I'm a criminal mixing massive subliminals. These other brother. It's hard to do that with headphones on. I hear an echo. I'm a criminal mixing massive subliminals. These other rappers know that I'm pivotal with originals. I'm biblical. Yeah, I climb the mountain, reach the pinnacle. Elite conditions critical. Major league minuscule. Yeah, special little appearances to make them. I'm not sure if you're talking Mad Child or not, Jesse. Tom McDonald's dope. I mean, he's a gimmick rapper in a lot of ways. And I don't mean that as a bad thing. I mean, he did like politics and things. He makes sure he picks out specific topics that he knows I'm going to explode because of world events that are going on right now. Most people should rap about world events and things that are going on, but there's a difference between adding that in from song to song or that being your career. And most of his career is that. But he's a dope fucking rapper. I mean, Tom McDonald does kill it. I haven't listened to him in a while, but Mad Child was trying to do something there with a little bit with Slain, which is one of my favorite rappers of all time, and I didn't last very long, I don't think. Slain's clean, and I think Mad Child was probably trying to fuck that up. Rap God. I'm not sure who you're saying that to, but hopefully it's about Eminem. Sure as fuck ain't me. I did all right for a while, but it's been a long time. Busta Rhymes is fast. Twista, Lazy Bone. Boom, 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 boom. Tell me what you gonna do. Oh man, I think we're probably about at the end. I don't know what else to talk about at this point. You know, if I bust out in a random set of lyrics at some point, that means I probably need to call it a night. Yellow Wolf. Yellow Wolf. A lot of good rappers out there, honestly. Nowadays, not necessarily choppers, but I'm saying just in general, there are a lot of good rappers, a lot of fucking horrible music right now, but there are some gems. I mean, Snack the Ripper, Mercules, Hobson, Ritz, a lot of people like that. And then you have stuff like I listen to, like Rhyme Asylum and Horseshoe Gang, Chino XL, Slain, Jedi Mind Tricks, all that type of shit. NF's a killer rapper too. I think he's coming to Pittsburgh coming up. Sure, it's another one of those concerts. It's like the ticket is $75, but we're going to charge you $119 in fees. I think I have seen the thing where it's Busta Rhymes rap over top of an egg frying in a pan. I think I did see that, man. It's been a while, but I think I did. Well, Laura, thank you for tuning in for my just random episodes of nothing. For all you guys, for that matter. My other shows are so detailed and so oriented of a subject matter and teaching you guys stuff and going over stuff. And then Last Call is just like, I'm going to fucking talk a bunch of nonsense. Night, Kelvin. Thank you, brother. I don't listen to a lot of trap metal or rap metal. But if you do, AJ, check out my buddy Seethe, Seethe. That's Patrick from Nine Stitch Method, a great two-piece metal band, which sounds weird saying, but a two-piece metal band here in Pittsburgh. He has a side project called Seethe, and he's released multiple discs at this point, and it's trap metal. And it's heavy metalish style beats and guitar to screaming type of, I don't know really what you call him, but it's unique and it's really cool. And he's done very well for himself. People love it. Oh, yes, I rock his music. Okay, yeah, Seethe is dope, man. Well, I'm glad you could make it tonight, AJ, as far as you saying you normally see them after the fact. I know you've been a big supporter. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. I do what I can. These days, everything's just kind of laid back. I've put out so much stuff over the years that I just, kind of chill. And Trevor, that's okay. Showing up late is better than never, right? If any of you guys have any other questions, let me know. I'm going to stick around for about 3 more minutes, and then I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to get my ass to bed. Good night, Laura. I want to kill your whole family, and no, that's not a lyric to my song. That's a real-life fantasy. Thought about it while I'm jerking my gurk. Sick motherfucker since birth, I'm cursed. David Gunn, lead singer of King 810, has a solo rap project. If you haven't checked him out, you should. You have to give him a listen. Thanks, Jesse. You be easy too, brother. Yeah, thank you, AJ. I still got a long way to go. I'm still kind of young, but I'm old. You know what I mean? I feel old. Put out a lot of stuff over the years, just years and years of material and shows and all kinds of other stuff. But it's still a long way from done. Still got a lot more to do. I look like shit tonight. My eyes are all weird looking. My one eye looks like it's more shut than the other one. I don't know why. Allergies have been really fucking with me lately. Yeah, night, Jesse. Thank you, man. But appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Everybody be safe this weekend. Have fun. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. I don't know what next episode is going to be. If I'm doing one next week, I have to look at the calendar. It depends on what I got going on. But if I can, I'll be back here with some other type of topic. We'll probably have a few more Last Cause before I wrap up the season. I don't know if there'll be another season. Like I said, this was just a way of, after years of producing Knights of the Nephilim, uncovering the underground, paranormal guys, all of that I could have this little side thing that I just talk to you guys and hang out. I used to do live broadcasts like this a long time ago, and it's been a while. So I'm like, what better way to tell some funny stories, bring people on, as far as comments on the screen, read them off, and all be together and have a fun night. So we'll do a few more of those. If people really want it enough, I'll keep them going, but I might run out of stories. And there's millions of stories, but there's only so much that are impactful. Like, I want to give you my skin. I mean, there's not too many of those in life that happen, thankfully. So I love you guys. Thank you. Be safe. And we'll catch you next time on Celestial Oddities Radio for Last Caw. Caw.